Welcome back to Some Parts Not Included, a podcast where three lifelong amputee friends hang out and talk about all things amputee related. My name is Amanda Marie. I'm a right leg amputee, and these are my co-hosts, the Jamies.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm a right arm amputee.
And I'm Jamie, number 2, a left arm amputee.
That's right.
That's Jamie 1, and this
First
is
of all,
Jamie
you're
2.
a liar. You're James.
Yeah. Hi, I'm James. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back.
It's so funny, actually. When I was out and about today, someone asked me what I was up to later tonight. So I had the great opportunity to say, "Oh, I'm recording my podcast later." And they're like, "You record a podcast? What do you do?" And I said, "I talk about being an amputee with two of my other amputee friends." Actually, sorry, that's not exactly what I said. I said, it's with two of my other amputee friends. And then I said, and we talk shit about able-bodied people.
Like we're going to do tonight.
Yes, actually, which is the funny part. I told them what our name was, and the reaction from people makes me so glad that we named it, because able-bodied people nearly choke or spit out what they're drinking, and that is the reaction I want. And speaking of which, we are going to talk about reactions and things that we have dealt with in the public. Recently this week, I've dealt with a lot of people coming up, like random people coming up and reacting to me. And that's because sun's out, limbs out, baby. So are people's random reactions to you. So here we are to discuss. This happens a lot more, I think, to me, it seems. And I don't know if it's just because I have that type of luck as a person. But I went out grocery shopping the other day, and normally, like, I tend to go with my dad, but on this particular occasion I had just gone out to go grab a few things for myself, and it was at the grocery store I always go to, and I barely walked in the door, and one of the employees came up to me, was like, "I feel awful for you."
Man, that's the worst. I hate that so much.
Like, first of all,
wow,
what
thanks.
What
Thank you so much. You made my day so much better.
Like, lady, I'm here to pick up some lettuce and tomatoes. So I first of all, just to make it clear, I don't want anyone to feel awful for me, to feel bad for me, to pity me, or any of the above. I want you to do simple things like move your damn grocery carts out of the handicapped parking spots, but I certainly don't want you to feel bad for me or offer to take it back when you see me struggling to return a cart. But, like,
I would, yeah, I hear you. Like, I just want people to look at me and be like, "Oh, there's another human, just like me. I'm a human. They're a human. This grocery store is filled with humans."
No, you're a one-arm human. Weird.
You're not a normie.
You're not a normie.
It was just such a wild experience so I've never actually talked or engaged with this employee before. So it wasn't like it was like, "Oh, I know Amanda. She's a regular. I know she's cool." Like, it wasn't anything like that. That was the first words out of their mouth. I genuinely sometimes struggle to know how to respond in these scenarios, because part of me doesn't want to make them feel bad or awkward, because I understand people
I do that all the time.
I should.
I love doing that.
I do, but I guess it depends on the person and my mood, right? If it takes me really off guard, sometimes I don't know what to say, and my brain is searching for comprehension is the best way to explain it. And it's not until after, where you're like up all night thinking about what happened during the day and your awkward responses to people, that you're like, "Oh, I should have done this differently or handled
it differently." You're laying in bed and you're going over it in your head and you're like, "Oh, I should have said that."
This is why I like to watch true crime before bed, because it occupies my brain from those thoughts, and it's just way easier to sleep to a murder trial than it is to think about the random interactions I've had throughout the day. But she
what
didn't.
Do you say to someone when they say, "Oh, I feel awful"? Like, what do you?
I said, please. I believe I said something along the lines like, not verbatim, but something along the lines of like, please don't. I don't like, I'm fine. You don't need to feel bad for me. I'm very capable of doing the vast majority of
Yeah, but then
daily
you have to get
tasks.
into explaining all that. Oh,
Yeah, that's my point. So then it turned into like a 5+ minute conversation.
no.
I wanted lettuce and tomatoes,
That's
not
all you wanted.
deep.
You just wanted lettuce, tomatoes, so you can have your damn BLT. You just want to get home and make a BLT, man.
Yes, basically correct,
Instead,
minus the B. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know, but
instead,
I'm thinking of my own case. It would
I
be a
know, and you
BLT.
can go ahead. And you know what? Actually, I love the smell of
Ooh.
bacon, and so does my dog. So sometimes I like cooking it for other people just so it smells
Careful.
like that in my head.
Bacon's always the thing. That this is totally off topic now, but bacon's what always it'll bring you over to the other side. Okay, so be careful because
I'm sorry.
there's been vegetarians that have come over to the other side because of bacon. Okay, I
This is
witnessed it
one of those.
once. I saw it happen with my own eyes when my roommate, who was a vegetarian, had a piece of bacon when I was cooking it because it smelled so good.
No.
Anyway, back to your grocery store.
Also, this was one of those moments I was going to use from example from our previous recorded episode, unless they don't air in that order, when you're like, be careful. And I was going to say, why is cooking bacon how you lost your arm?
Oh no, but you get those splatters, it friggin' hurts, man.
Yeah, true. So, anyways, correct. I'm in the store just trying to pick up a few veggies, and this is the in depth conversation. It's awkward because obviously, if you're going to approach another human being just because they have a disability and tell them you feel awful for them, is already quite, I don't want to say aggressive, but it's very like, what?
Who
I don't.
says that to somebody? Like, oh, I
What
get.
were you expecting for the rest of this conversation to have to happen, right?
It's different if someone like breaks their arm, they're in a cast or something. Like, oh man, I feel bad. You broke your leg or broke your arm. Now you got to heal for a while.
Yeah,
But
it's
when you
way
come up
worse
to
just to
a
break
person
a
who's
limb.
like an amputee, and you're like, oh man, I feel awful for you. If I had one leg, I would be like, I'd kill myself or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you say? What are you saying? Why do you feel awful?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too. It kind of leads you down this path where I don't know, the rest of the day I start thinking about like, but why would they feel awful for me? Being disabled isn't that bad, or why like do they think that means I'm not living as great of a life? Like, I don't there's all these things that start going through your head like, why would you feel awful though? And why do you feel the need to tell me this? Is the other thing like
Or that
I
they feel really sorry for you, right? Kind of the
yeah,
same thing.
but first of all, why?
I get that too.
Maybe they're on autopilot. I mean, all of us get super tired and like
Say
zoned
dumb
out.
things.
Say stupid
Yeah, and we
things.
say stupid
Yeah.
things. Maybe they were just on autopilot.
There are
However, it was an unusual experience where I think there's 3 different people to make a comment to me in one grocery store visit. And I will say it's probably because I was wearing capris, which I think I've been wearing them for a while now, but I think because it's more noticeable, people make more
You know what?
comments
You were
during
most
these.
likely wearing a shirt that said "ouch" and had like a picture, like a pictogram of an ouch.
feel sorry, feel sorry for me. I was most likely wearing this shirt, which is I they actually felt. I feel awful for you.
I feel like we need to get like some parts not included t-shirts that just say like "ouch" on them and like a pictogram of like 2 amputees or 3 amputees.
Ooh, I would like shirts. We could make it, maybe not for anyone else, but just for us, we could make.
oh, they would sell out at our merch store. All our followers.
Anyway, but that's most likely what you were doing. You were wearing a shirt that said "look at me, ouch, feel bad
I
for me."
was.
Yeah.
I was. You're right. I was wearing that specific shirt that
I'm
day.
just kidding.
But then I noticed, okay, so it's not always bad interactions though. And I think that this interaction kind of just, I don't know, I don't want to say it was bad. It was just kind of weird. I don't know how else to describe it. I've had them multiple times, but it doesn't make it really less weird just because you've had it happen before. On the flip side, I did have someone come up to me and make a positive comment, and kind of like they went in the opposite direction, but I'm grateful and I appreciate it, especially after having someone say they feel awful for me. But instead, it was, you are such a beautiful person. And when I look at you, I actually see strength, I see resilience, I see someone who brings positivity to the world. I started crying for starters. I was like,
Someone
listen,
said
Grant,
that to you, a random person.
right? Listen, okay. So it was actually someone at my church. I had never spoke to them before. They had never spoke to me, obviously, or else I'd be weird.
They've
Never
been
want my
thinking this though
conversation.
because they, you know,
They said they see me all the time, and so they watch me, and that this is the emotions they feel while watching me, and they've wanted to for a very long time to come talk to me and
yeah,
let me know that. But they were so moved, like they were tearing up telling me this. And on the flip side, then they said something really, really important for me to hear. And that was, you're meant to be here. And not, it doesn't mean you have to do anything big. You are meant to be here, even if it's just to exist, even if it's just to bring, oh, Jamie, stop. Now you're making me cry. Just to bring like positive energy, or, like make me feel this way when I look at you. Like, don't feel that you need to do something huge with this just because I told you you motivate me. And I think that's really important, because often, and not that people mean ill by this, but when people are doing really big things, like they're big athletes or they're making huge changes in the world, and they have a disability, they I get sent all these articles about it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great." But then sometimes I feel like I'm like, "What am I doing with my life?" Like, I'm just an average amputee. I'm not doing anything significant. And then
Mhm.
sometimes you feel like maybe you're supposed to do something more significant with your life than just exist. And so it was really beautiful to have someone say, they saw all these traits that were great, and just existing was perfect enough. And then I was like, oh, thank God. Because like, i don't
Yeah.
know if I don't know if I could handle being that big thing, or like, I don't think I have it in me. But it didn't make me feel like a failure, that just because I'm disabled and I haven't done this like world record breaking thing, that I still made a difference. So
that's good.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna add in there that a lot of times just we don't even know it, but we're inspiring people just our everyday lives. People see us doing things and they're like, oh, what a brave, courageous person, or like what a the person that has to deal with a lot of you know extra stuff that
how does that make you feel though? Like when people tell you that, how
yeah.
do you genuinely, honestly feel?
I mean, what I can't change it. It is what it is. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, I think I like it. I guess.
To me, I feel like I don't have a choice other than to be who I am. Like James said, like we don't really have a choice. And yeah, we do have a choice to handle it how we want to, but at the same time, to me, it's like I don't have a choice to either decide to like be a victim or to, I'm not saying that everyone is, but like I have a
No.
choice where I can feel like I'm at least living a good life, and I just don't feel like I couldn't do that. So when people say like, "Oh, it's inspirational," blah 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 blah, like I don't really think I am really. Like
No.
I'm
Me neither.
I'm just
You're just living, man.
I'm
Yeah.
just I'm
That's
just
honestly like I feel that pressure now with like having Ava because people tell me like, oh, like you know, she's gonna have like the best teacher and it was meant to be, and like other amputees that I've known through life growing up, they've come to me like, oh, of all people, and like it's perfect that it would happen to you, and I'm just like, is it? Because I feel like sometimes I'm struggling a little bit with it, like
Like a
just
parent.
yeah, just like as a parent would struggle, like I'm overwhelmed by it sometimes. Like you, like because I being an amputee myself, like I can deal with people staring at me and stuff, and like I've gone through that, and I know what that is, and growing up and going through school, and now it's like my daughter has to go through that, and I feel terrible for I don't, you know what I mean? Like I feel like scared and like
So you're the girl in the
for her.
grocery store.
What's that?
I said you're the lady in the grocery store. I feel terrible for her.
I
It's
feel awful for you. No, I just mean like I'm afraid for her. Like I don't
no,
want
I
her to
get
have
it.
to go through that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like even though I
you
know she's gonna be
empathize.
amazing and kick ass, and we're gonna be a kick ass team, and we already are, and but I still feel pressure sometimes, like, oh, like that I have to live up to this huge hype to be the best possible, and like, oh, you're the best person that she could ever learn from, and this and that, and I'm like, oh my god, the pressure's on, I guess, like sometimes I
Well,
feel that, and I'm like, what if I fail
well, I
miserably
mean,
or something?
you're not going to fail. You turned out
No,
okay, right? So,
Did
I
I?
mean, eh.
Am I? Did, is
arguably,
this okay? I guess. I
your
guess it
mom and dad
is.
did the best they could with what they were given.
and
Yes, and a lot of it you can like credit my parents as the way I turned out. Like, but no, I'm for the most
We
part,
tease
I'm
James.
not super stressed about it, but it is a thing in the back of my head
Yeah,
that like
I'm not saying it's something that like consumes my all being.
but
Like
also
it is
now it's not just that. Okay, that's a part of it. Now it's like you're talking about going to the grocery store. Well, now I'm going to the grocery store and I don't have to deal with it myself, but now I got to see people looking at her and then they're looking at me and they're trying to figure it out and I know what they're thinking and it drives me nuts and I can't like I don't know why I can't just be like, who cares what they think?
who
It's
cares?
because I feel like I have to explain it to everybody now. Everyone just thinks she's got an amputation because I have a fucking amputation. You know what I mean? And it drives me insane. I
Who
hate that.
cares?
I
Why
have.
do you care about that?
What's that?
Truly, truly, why does that matter? If
I
someone
don't know. I
random
guess
thinks,
because it's not true and people don't know that, and it's just that's what everyone thinks though.
are they
And it's
writing the
just like
medical
everyone thinks
papers?
it's my fault. You know what I mean? Like
it is
that
kind of
she
your fault.
well, it is, right? But which it doesn't matter. I know that. I know it doesn't matter. But it's just
Yeah,
like
teasing.
I
it's
understand.
just
Like things bug
Yeah,
us that don't really make sense, but
and it's something that,
but
like
it
you said,
totally makes sense. Like I think.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
always consume us, but it doesn't mean that it's not a thought in the back of our heads, right? So for me, I think that's the thing is people always say to me, which is why I said it was really important to me to hear this comment because usually that's what people say. It's like, "Oh, you're going to do big things," or like what they always make it feel like I'm supposed to tackle
it's like
and be the
whoa,
like
whoa.
this person that makes this like
I'm almost
massive
40. Like time
change
up,
in
time's
this.
up.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yo, man, I've hit the age
Jeez.
where I just want to stay home with my dogs and not leave the walls of my house unless I'm buying snacks and coffee, basically. So,
Lettuce and tomatoes.
yeah, or lettuce and tomatoes. Then, yeah, I don't know. It's not wrong. Like, and it's okay if you want to be a person who has big goals, and it's okay if you're a person who doesn't want to have big goals.
The
The
truth is
size
I
of
kinda
your
do.
goals
So
are
it's like
irrelevant.
I think we would be a good like team to inspire people. And
Of course you would, but also it's like, is
but we
that what
don't
you
have to be,
want?
but I
Is
it's just
that what
like
makes you comfortable or happy or bring you joy, like, and you can
Does
do
bring me
it just
joy.
by
Yeah.
being you, though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like we have to go do this groundbreaking thing
No,
where
no,
we
no.
invent
For the most part,
new
people that's how it is.
technology, or we become advocates of disabled people, or we create new policies. Like, it's okay if you're just existing and raising your kid and doing things together that bring you joy. Like, that's
Think
awesome too.
think of this too, James. She's adorable.
Oh my
So
god,
Oh, he's so adorable.
so
so
cute.
they're not really like always looking at the fact that it's her arm. Like she's so cute. Like she's one of the cutest
Oh, I
children
don't
I've
know,
ever
man.
seen
I
in my
feel
entire
yeah,
life.
I
she's
actually said
insanely
that,
adorable,
James.
but
Recently I said, I was talking about Ava, and I was like, listen, you can amputee babies are just the cutest to me. Like, they
they're
pull
very
on my
cute. They're very
oh,
cute.
my heartstrings like no tomorrow. But I was like, you need to see my friend's amputee baby though, because she's like a cartoon. She's so stinking cute. You can't even make it up. She's
It's crazy,
adorable
right?
without being an amputee. But then you add that little, I don't
Nubby?
want to say cherry on top, because it's like,
Yeah.
obviously I know that it's a struggle for her, or will be in her life at some point. But
When I
oh
Her
my
when
god,
recent
people
she's
are
just
photos,
so
looking at us, I should just my head should go positive where I'm like, I bet they're inspired by us being a pair like they are, but for some reason, and Jamie, you've kind of blew something up in the back of my head there when you said, "Why do you care?" And it's like, to really think about it, it's like, yeah, that's a really good question. Why do I care?
I
Why does
don't
it
mean
bug
to
me so
be
much?
insensitive. I don't mean to be insensitive with that.
yeah,
It's just
No, but it's true. It's like, why do I care? Like what people think?
yeah,
Because I've never cared before. You know what I mean? But it was always for myself. It's like, well, it's
yeah,
me. I can, you know what I mean? Like I don't care what people think about
you.
you.
me and my
And,
own
and
amputation and stuff. But now it's my daughters, and I'm like, hey,
Oh, if I
don't
had
look
a
at her like
child,
that.
yeah, yeah, it's different.
if
Like
I
I
had
don't
a
know.
child, I'd think like that regardless if they had an amputation or not, or
Mhm.
like a disability or not. If people were staring or looking or doing something that brought attention to my child, I'm sure my brain would, you go into protection mode. You're a parent, right? So
Mhm.
in your case, and I'm saying this is true, but maybe it has something to do with the fact that because you're an amputee, you felt a lot of things growing up. You know what she felt like at that age or at different stages. And so
Oh, I
you're
know what's
kind of like
coming.
reflecting different parts of your experience into her
Absolutely.
experience,
Because right
right?
now she's just at that age where like everything's so happy go lucky. Like she doesn't understand completely yet. She's
Yeah.
just about to turn 3. And soon, I mean, it's going to click in that, and she's going to start going to kindergarten, and she's really going to notice then. And then she's going to, I mean, yes, she has me, but that also scares me a little bit when she's going to look up to like, oh, well, isn't it
Damn,
it's
James is
weird,
slow
isn't it
mo.
weird that me and my dad have one and no one else does? Like, I wonder what she's gonna think. I just have all these thoughts, and I'm sure it's gonna be positive because
I think it will be
thankfully I
very,
know so many amputees that she's
yeah.
knows so many amputees, and we see so many amputees on like social media and stuff, where it's like, oh, look, she's
I
got a nubby
think
and he's got a nubby, and
I yeah. I think that you probably hit the nail right on the head, both of you. I think that when it comes to other people, we care more.
yeah,
When it comes to ourselves, we're just like, I don't care. We talked
yeah,
about this actually in another episode where it's like we care when someone else is potentially being bothered, even though they don't react to the thing that could be, whatever it is, like being stared at or commented about or whatever is the case. But if it's us, we're just like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. It'll roll right off. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Also, I think that's just very normal as a parent. You're not going to be able to escape that feeling, to have those doubts. Like, my friends who are able bodied and have able bodied children have those thoughts too. Like, they worry about when they go to school, are they going to make friends? What are their friends going to think? Maybe about their appearance because they don't get dolled up like the other moms, or so I think it exists on different levels. It's just we're applying it to having, and obviously it's exaggerated I don't want to undermine that we're not bringing more attention, but I think what I'm trying to say is our brains are naturally wired to think and protect and do that as a parent. And so it doesn't matter how it would look, it would still present
Honestly,
itself.
though, I know she's so awesome though. Like she's gonna kick ass. I
Yeah.
already know that. She's so sassy. Like she's she's a boss, man. I know she's gonna go and like she's gonna inspire people and like people that give her flack. She's gonna, you know, she's gonna
Yeah.
be able to deal with that. There's gonna be bad days, I'm sure, but I know that she's gonna kick butt. So I shouldn't be so worried. But it's just a natural thing for parents, and then the added on top, that she's an amputee and I have to deal with that, and I'm also an amputee, and we'll have to cross that bridge one day as well. And I guess that scares me a little bit because I'm like, I wonder what she'll think, and like, I
Well,
don't
it's the
know. Yeah.
unknown, right? The unknown can be scary. And I do
Hmm.
think, too, I'm more excited for you because I actually believe very strongly that as time goes on, you will experience more joy and a really beautiful bond and a connection. And you'll look back, maybe you'll be like 50, so, in like 2 years.
Two, two
Oh,
plus 10.
James. Old.
Old
He's
man.
the old man in the group. Just kidding. Age doesn't really matter. It's just a number. They say
Yeah.
as you get older to make yourself feel better. Um,
So when I'm 50 and
so when
she's
you're 50 and she's
13.
older, I think that you'll really look back and start to almost laugh, not laugh, but in a way, like be like, wow, why was I so worried and about these things and
Yeah, I guess so.
insecure or whatever, because you'll end up realizing that she experiences a lot of joy and you'll see how she develops and unfolds and becomes very independent and is fully
Oh,
capable
she's
and will.
already super independent. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so I think that just as time goes on and as she gets older and she grows more and has more independencies, I think you're going to experience more joy than fear, or your anxiety is going to present itself much differently as each stage goes until she becomes an adult, and then
Counseling.
maybe you'll enter that more. But I think eventually you'll get there. I just don't know like what age you'll finally it'll dawn on you that you didn't need to have all those worries so much, because it was actually really really beautiful blessing.
Hmm.
I mean, when I found out that she was an amputee, I think I cried, but with
Yeah. I
like
cried.
oddly enough
I
with
cried.
joy
Me
in a
too.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just shocked. I
I
was just
remember
in
when
pure.
I remember when James told me, and I was like, I think I told you to shut up. I was like,
Yeah,
no,
that's what I said to the
shut up.
person. I thought it was a practical joke that was being played on me. I
That
really
would be
did.
a really good joke, though.
Because I wasn't in the ultrasound because of COVID. So it was a phone call to me while I
Oh.
was waiting in the car. And I'm like, hello? Like, yeah, so, the nurse says that our daughter's going to be, have a right below the elbow amputation. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's real funny. No, seriously. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is real. And I'm like, shut up. Like, I still didn't believe it. And then when I was like, the third time went around and she's like, no, it's not a joke. Like, it's really going to happen. And I was like, I didn't know what to think. I was like, this is nuts. This is absolutely wild. Like, that can't even be true. How does that happen? Just like any parent, maybe that would feel that, except for I instantly knew everything was going to be okay. That's all, because I grew up that way and I'm like, oh, okay, so whatever. That's kind of where I was able to get from point A to point B, like
Faster.
whatever,
Yeah.
very quickly. Like
Yeah.
before I even picked her up from the hospital, I was like, well, it's crazy, but like,
I remember
obviously I already know she's going to be, you know what I mean? Like she's going to be okay but still, then 3 years later now, I still have these things that come up, right? I still have like, or I'll start to go out, like I was saying, like when I go out to the grocery store or whatever, it's like, oh, well, now we're getting a double time. Like, I'm like, and if it's just me, I don't care. But now that it's her, I'm like, but most people would, like we were saying earlier, would look at it and be inspired by her and it, and just watching her for like, if you just study her for like 10 or 20 minutes and watch what she does,
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. Like, she's so good with the nub. She doesn't wear her arm though, but
She's just the
she's
cutest
so good
child.
with the nub.
She's like one of the cutest children I've
Literally.
ever seen.
Absolutely.
Hmm,
Adorable.
hmm.
I
Yeah,
do not
and
know
she's
how.
got that too, where she's just like insanely beautiful and adorable. Like, it's crazy. So yeah,
Yeah, I think you'll
me
have
too.
more troubles with her being a very beautiful girl than you'll have more troubles with her being an amputee.
Oh, definitely,
And the
definitely.
sass to add to it, yeah.
Oh my god, I am just like,
Yeah.
I'm just like relishing in everything right now because it's like she's 3 and everything's so she's just in that phase where she's
It's a
so
cute
fun
age.
and loving and
Yeah,
adorable and all this stuff. And soon she's gonna be a sassy teenager who
correct. Yes.
people just keep telling me, like every old parents, I always tell me like, oh, take it all in while you can because it goes by so fast,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
so just like that's what I'm doing. I'm like, dude, she's never gonna be 3 again, and she's so friggin' adorable and so cute, and even just like the way she says words and like the way she laughs and at the stupidest little jokes and stuff, and she has such a hilarious laugh, man, that it just makes me crack up laughing too. That it's like, oh, I'm like,
Cute.
it's just, yeah, it's so cute. I'm just like enjoying this cute phase as and taking it all in as much as I can before
They
she
become a
moves on
teenager.
to the next phase because they grow so fast, right? But
Yeah. And every stage you're going to feel different feelings and I'm sure
yeah,
have different I don't want to
Challenges.
say insecurities, but worries or concerns
mhm,
that pop up. And it would be foolish of us to say that you wouldn't have additional ones because she's an amputee, even though we're amputees. If anything, it gives us more of a insight to what she will experience, right? So there will be hardships. It's not every day is rainbows and damn
oh
unicorns.
yeah, not at all,
Yeah,
no, like
so we make it seem like it's fun and it's not. No, just
it's
kidding.
hard sometimes.
Yeah,
We're
it
fine.
comes. I say I don't think of it. Someone made the comment of recently saying something about people thinking it's a weakness, and I thought no, I don't even think that. And the truth is, okay, I don't think of it as a weakness, but it is a challenge. And that it would be a lie to say it's not a challenge, right? But
It's a benefit sometimes.
yeah, to say it's a weakness is doesn't feel appropriate at all because it's an obstacle or a challenge that presents different opportunities to us and some are difficult to get through, but also they build a lot of character in us or build a lot of opportunities and experiences. Even like, yeah, I think it's so
Definitely
cool.
builds character.
Huge character building, right? I constantly appreciate the fact that I have the insight that I do as a disabled person because I don't think necessarily that means I understand every minority or anything like that by any means. But I do think it creates awareness that not everybody has the same privileges. And it's funny because my one of my cousins, is black and he is in a very white Polish family. And we have two black cousins. And he came up to me one day and says to me, and this was kind of recently, and I thought it was just so cute. And he's like, I always love when you're here because we got that bond. And I thought to myself, I would never in a million years compare having a disability necessarily to being a different race or anything like that. I think we deal with far drastic
It's a
things.
totally different thing.
It's
Like,
totally different. But what he brought, and it made sense to me though, the reason why we always gravitated towards each other is because we understand that we have different privileges or non privileges than other
Yes.
people. And because in our family, maybe we don't have a ton of Black people, and not that we're not loving and accepting of him just the same, and we don't even think about that. But I'm sure there is also like they have feelings and experiences about being in a very Polish white family. So it's, it would be ignorant of me to say that they didn't have feelings or felt a certain way about that. And so when we had the conversation, it was like, it's an unspoken bond that we have, is what he said, that we're both different within our family or our grouping, but it makes us feel like we had an extra connection we don't need to speak about. And the things he was saying was very similar to how we speak to each other about the bond that we have that you don't really need to talk about. So it was just a very beautiful interaction with my cousin, and just made me feel so good in a sense of, you're being this way makes it so I connect with other human beings that feel like the minority or don't fit in a box or that they belong or whatever you want to call it, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
even want to put a label on
As
it, but
we
just
as we were saying
yeah.
before, it is a more emotionally intelligent type of thing, right? Our
Yeah.
ability to connect with others, no matter where they are within their lives or what they've dealt with within their lives, like it's that ability to connect and the ability to understand, and not necessarily understand exactly, but just understand, you know, that there has been struggles.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
that's generally, kind of what it is, and I would feel the same way a little bit, and yeah, I think that it's a very special thing for sure.
Yeah. It made me really reflect and realize, yeah, just the connections you have with everybody wherever you go, that you're really trying, like, oh, I shouldn't say you, because not
I
every amputee necessarily is like
Yeah.
this. However, I feel like it's given me the gift of understanding that other people's lives look different, and that's okay, and to make them feel good about who they are regardless of what they look like or what their situation looks like in their life, and that we all have disadvantages or we're not all privileged in certain
Yeah.
ways.
Mhm.
That's really where I start to realize, like, privilege isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
privilege is great. Like, I'm privileged because we're all privileged because we're
Yeah.
homeowners, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's a privilege, and that's huge. So to
Yeah.
me, that's a beautiful gift that I get to realize because I have a disability, which is
Yeah.
kind of deep, but it's true.
I thought
I
you were
think
gonna say because we live in Canada, we're privileged.
that too, yes.
That is a
Because that's
privilege
also
too.
true.
I
But
I
it's
I
actually
mean, Jesus, when you look at the news, it's just oh my God, he's just
yeah.
we hit the geographical lottery. I say that all the time. Just like,
I
oh, I was lucky enough to be born in, you know, in this country, like on this part of the friggin' rock that's flying through space at a bajillion miles an hour, and
what
it's
have you
just full
smoked
of
before
oh
this
my God.
podcast, James?
Well,
It's
we
keep
just we
keep
hit the
smoking
jackpot.
it.
We hit the
I
jackpot,
was
man.
I was gonna say too that, because of this ability to understand people, I actually fell into, and I can't, mention my career really, exactly
No.
what I do, but um, I fell into a career where that is what I do, is that I imagine how things affect people everywhere. And so, I work on just certain things that and how they affect people, and that is a big part of my job. And so, being able to like look at something and be like, oh well, it affects this group of people, or it affects this group of people, and this is how it would affect that group of people, kind of thing. That is a big part of my job, and kind of something that I love about my job, my ability to do that. So
And I don't think we would have, and not that we're not capable of doing it if we were able body. I just think that we get a huge advantage or different perspective being
Absolutely.
an amputee to other people, right? So,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
yeah, and all that to round back to say, don't feel awful for us.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
Please don't feel
Please don't.
bad. Just take our carts back when you see us grocery shopping.
You don't even have to take my cart back. I can take my own
Oh,
cart back.
take my
Just
cart
tell
back.
James she's cute and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow, and you know what? That's I get compliments on her obviously all the time because look
Duh.
at me, right? So I get a lot of people that come up to me and say that all the time. But a lot of times it is kids too that are curious, and I
Mhm.
know that's just the way it is. And one thing that irks me a little is that I'm on the French side and I'm not French, so not that I want to give away my location, but um, she'll
He's in
likely go to
Paris.
she'll likely go to a French school, and I'm really worried that I'm not going to be able to communicate with half of the class, like half of her. You know what I mean? Like kids and families when I have to explain it or try. You know what I mean? So that's a bit of a that bugs me a little bit. Like I, which I know a lot of people are saying, well, why don't you just learn French? And then I wish people could just be in my shoes where my brain works around like numbers. Like I'm great with math, but language is
James
really really
struggles
hard
enough
for me.
with the English language. We shouldn't
I
be.
struggle. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Because
but
it's so
so do
true.
I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like I'm
struggled
not
trying to
exempt.
figure out English before. Like I worked in an office for however many years of my life, and like, dude, I had to really work on grammar and all that stuff. And great now, but like when I first started, oh my god, like I struggled to understand English properly. But hey, now I do. But now to go over to French, like Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
Anyway,
But I
uh,
think you'll be fine. I think she'll be fine. I
oh
think
yeah,
that
we'll be we'll be
over
more than fine.
time,
We'll be amazing. It's just the fears and anxieties ahead of time that a parent thinks of and stuff. But
well, and
you know,
French people
but at
can
least
be a little
I was gonna.
intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm French.
Wait, whoa! She's allowed to say it, French people.
I, I
Okay?
I say that because I am French. I will, Jamie. I don't even think that that's bad. I am French, so it is what it is.
She, she's saying to cut it.
I'll cut it.
Hey,
Just kidding.
leave
I'm
it
not
in.
cutting it. I'll cut it.
Yeah, yeah. Just like you said, you're gonna cut the other stuff.
Listen,
No,
I'm
but we never plan
intimidating.
to actually cut that.
Pardon?
I said the other stuff that James is mentioning, we never actually plan to cut that. You just told us to,
Never.
but we never were going
Yeah,
to.
it's like, oh wait, I don't like
James
that. Cut
doesn't
it. Cut
watch
it.
all the episodes in
Uh,
full, but there's so many parts where he's like, cut that. And I'm like, okay. I just leave it in.
you son of a bee.
I only leave in the stuff that will get you canceled.
Well, thanks. You're gonna get
Well,
canceled, Richie. You're not gonna be. They're not gonna allow you to come into the Quebec province anymore.
I
Once they see your
The Belle Province.
the Belle
listen.
province.
I don't like listen. I don't like leaving my house. What makes you think I'm leaving the province?
Well, I thought you might come visit sometime, but
Oh, you
you're not
thought
going to be allowed to
wrong.
if you keep talking like that.
Who said I want to? On that note,
Jamie's
well, James wants me to
Jamie's getting
visit
us out.
him. Oh shit. Let's wrap up today's episode.
Let's wrap it up on getting canceled.
Oh, James
We'll
actually
maybe
wants
get back
to,
to it.
James thinks we're friends and he wants to hang out.
You guys are coming over, right? We're gonna hang out soon, guys.
Yeah, we'll hang out
I'm
really
hanging out with my
soon.
friends.
I'll get back to you. I'll look at my schedule and get back to you.
Me and my friends are coming over. We're gonna hang out.
Well, I think that's a wrap on today's episode. If you have any questions for us, you can toss them down in the comment section below. We will try and address them in our upcoming shows. If you enjoyed the video, then make sure that you hit the like button as well as subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos in the future. You can check us out on all social media, Some Parts Not Included. And until next time, be kind to one another. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.